Hey, what is up, my folks? Welcome back to my channel. This is Plug Talk. My name is Buddy Steele. It is early May, and I haven't done a video in a few weeks, and I haven't talked about the NFL in weeks beyond that. So I think the last NFL one I did, I recapped March. This one is going to recap April. I have 20 subjects here to talk about. You guys probably don't like long videos. I certainly don't like long videos. So I'm going to do a rapid fire recap. And if you want my Brady to the Bucks recap, you're going to have to wait till the end of the video. Sorry. So, let's kick it off here. Number one, I have Joe Burrow going number one overall to the Bengals. So, how I feel about that, that's not a surprise to anybody. He's from Ohio. He was at Ohio State for a while. Then he finished up at LSU, where he had the storied season this year. Maybe the most successful season a quarterback in college has ever had. Went undefeated, won the national championship, broke a ton of records, won the Heisman Trophy. He is maybe, I used to have Tua as my best quarterback in that draft. I now have Burrow just because of the lack of injuries that he's sustained, and also because if you look at Joe Burrow, I watched a little bit of film on him as well as his interviews. He's just a dog, man. He has this cockiness, this confidence about him that I just love, and I feel like a quarterback needs to have. Joe Burrow might be the only guy right now that the Bengals couldn't screw up. I like the pick. I think it was best for the Bengals considering he's an Ohio guy, kind of like LeBron to the Cavs. Number two, Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide, baby. Going to the Miami Dolphins at number 5. So we all thought last year the Miami Dolphins were going to tank for Tua because this time last year, Tua was actually the projected number 1 overall pick and the best quarterback prospect. Obviously, Joe Burrow came on and wreaked havoc. Tua is widely considered the best quarterback in this draft. Some people actually have him as the top quarterback, just like Shannon Sharp, among others. Tua going to the Dolphins was a little bit of a surprise on draft night just because you heard a lot of buzz about the Dolphins actually not liking him and liking Justin Herbert better, the quarterback from Oregon. That ended up being a lot of smokescreen, so other teams didn't have to worry about, trying to trump the Dolphins and trade above them to pick Tua. They ended up getting Tua. I think it's a pretty good move. Their team is on the up and up with Brian Flores as their head coach. They've had so many draft picks, 3 first-round picks this year, a couple more second-rounders. They're definitely revamping that, entire culture, entire organization they have. And the AFC East might be wide open this year with Brady gone. Number 3, so at the 6th overall pick, right after Tua, we had Justin Herbert, the aforementioned quarterback of the Oregon Ducks, going to the Chargers. I like it. The Chargers are like the 3rd most popular team in LA, behind the Rams, USC, and then you have the lowly Los Angeles Chargers. They need star power. Tyrod Taylor, I feel, is a good quarterback. He's obviously not a tier A, but he can win you games. He won some games in Cleveland before they really had anybody. I feel like Justin Herbert has all the tools, but he doesn't have the decision-making, the anticipation. You have to throw guys open in the NFL. They're not just going to sit there and be open as they are in college, especially in the Pac-12. I'm not so sure about Herbert. He really, really needs time to groom and time to develop. Tyrod will probably be a good mentor to him. Their head coach, Anthony Lynn, was a running back in the NFL. I don't know coaching experience, what they're going to have to help Herbert. I hope he does well. He is a high potential for a bust, Justin Herbert. Number 4, Jalen Hurts to the Eagles in the 2nd round. The Eagles obviously have Carson Wentz, their supposed franchise quarterback, who for the last 3 years has not finished the season because he is injury prone. He gets hurt all the time. Back in that draft, I like Goff better. That has been proven to be true. Some people could say Carson Wentz is better. Goff has led him to the Super Bowl. I don't care. That's a whole different subject. Jalen Hurts was the quarterback for Alabama, okay? Tua took him over as the starter. Tua got hurt in the championship. Jalen Hurts came in and won the game. Then he transfers to Oklahoma, where he breaks a ton of records. I think goes 2nd overall in the Heisman voting, maybe 3rd this year. He's a really good quarterback. This is obviously sending a message to Carson Wentz. I don't care what people say. You do need a good QB2 because quarterbacks get hurt all the time. We see it all the time. Look at last year, Drew Brees getting hurt. Teddy Bridgewater came in, went 5-0. That was huge for them in the playoffs, as far as seeding is concerned. So Jalen Hurts, man, he's one of those guys, I think he's going to get on the field when Carson is the quarterback, and little, wildcat type stuff, specialized offensive formations. But he might push Wentz too, man. What if Wentz gets hurt and Jalen Hurts comes in and kills it, man? Are they going to take him out if they start winning games, just like Brady with Bledsoe? Good question. Number 5, we have Jordan Love to the Packers. This was a first-round pick, 26th overall. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers last year went 13-3. Really successful with their first-year head coach, Matt LaFleur, okay? But against the 49ers in the regular season, the best team in the NFC, the 49ers, they got ran on, man. And then in the AFC Championship, they got ran on again by some undrafted running back. They obviously needed a defensive tackle, a run stopper, maybe a weapon for, Aaron Rodgers. They've never drafted a skill position player in the first round since Aaron Rodgers has been their quarterback. I actually like Jordan Love to the Packers. I'm not a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers, man. He's always prickly. He's always complaining about something. So the fact that he's probably going to now complain about Jordan Love, okay, what's new? He's always complaining anyways, man. He doesn't get along with anybody. Those kind of people you can never please. You can't win for losing with those kind of people. Jordan Love is obviously a project. He went to Utah State. Big arm, gun, cannon, can fire it, athletic. They're kind of considering him akin to like a Colin Kaepernick or Patrick Mahomes, okay? Just as far as like their skill set, big arm, that kind of thing. Jordan Love is going to need some work, but that's okay because Aaron Rodgers can't go anywhere for 2 years. He's under contract for 4 more years with the Packers. The next 2 years, though, he's owed like $50 million. They can't cut him. Probably not going to get traded. Man, people say that Jordan Love can do nothing to help the Packers win next year. Jordan Love might push Aaron Rodgers to be better because his stats have gone down each of the last 3 years, and he misses throws, man. There's throws that are there available for him, and he chooses to throw it away because he's scared of tarnishing his TD to interception ratio. Number 6, so CeeDee Lamb falls to Dallas in the first round. The Cowboys, they were surprised. I was surprised with that pick. Jerry Jones is going to have him wear number 88, even though that wasn't CeeDee Lamb's first choice. CeeDee Lamb was the receiver out of Oklahoma, pretty much the consensus second best receiver in the draft to Jerry Jeudy at Alabama. CeeDee Lamb is going to wear number 88. That is a lot of pressure considering how hollowed that number is in Dallas. Number 88 was worn by Drew Pearson, the best receiver up to that point for the Cowboys. Then it was worn by Michael Irvin, the best receiver ever in Cowboys history. Then it was worn by Des Bryant, the best Cowboys receiver of the 20th century. Now it's going to be worn by CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, it gives him a lot of pressure, but if he's about it, let him wear it. I hope he lives up to it. I think that's pretty dope. Not really Jerry Jones's decision, to meddle in, but that's Jerry Jones for you, man. He always butts in where he shouldn't. So I'm not surprised with that. Okay, so overall, that's really all I have for the draft this year. It was virtual, obviously. The NFL was pretty, alone. They were kind of like the black horse as far as deciding to carry on with everything instead of postponing it like the NBA is going to do and stuff because of the coronavirus. The virtual draft, I thought, went very, very smooth considering everything. They had a lot of mock drafts. They had a lot of practice. You're talking about a lot of bandwidth, man. You're talking about 32 NFL teams plus Roger Goodell's screen on this Zoom platform. Each team has 3 guys, your head coach, your general manager, and your head of the scouting department. 96 different ways that it could fail. That's a lot of bandwidth. Wi-Fi concerns. It went well considering everything. I guess teams kind of had issues if they wanted to privately speak with their brass without everyone hearing them, but they would just step out of the room. Overall, man, I was really, really impressed. It is what all of us sports fans needed right now, was just something new. The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan Bulls documentary helped, but I love having a little bit of NFL action. Overall, I approve. Number 8, I have Marcus Mariota going to the Oakland Raiders to back up Derek Carr. Marcus Mariota got $8 million. Low as far as what he was getting with the Tennessee Titans, but high now, in hindsight, as far as what these other backup quarterbacks are getting, especially at Mariota's age. I'll get to that. Marcus Mariota going to back up Derek Carr. So John Gruden, head coach of the Raiders, and Mike Mayock, the general manager of the Raiders, they were not in football when Marcus Mariota was coming out of college, coming out of Oregon. One of them was the broadcaster, color commentator from Monday Night Football. The other one was one of the top draft experts for NFL Network. They loved Mariota. They had a lot of time to scout him and speak with him. They loved Mariota at that time. Obviously, Jameis Winston went number 1 overall, and then Mariota went 2. They loved Mariota, but, it can be that argument of, you need a really good number 2 quarterback in this league, which is very, very true. Or, we're not so sure about Derek Carr at this moment. Marcus Mariota can push him, or we can have a really good number 2 quarterback to go to if Derek Carr, falters a little bit. I think that's very, very interesting, and I think it's a pretty good spot for Mariota as well. Okay, and then we'll get to Jameis Winston, number 9. Jameis Winston just recently going to the Saints. He's only getting $1 million a year compared to Marcus Mariota getting $8 million. It's just because they signed like a month apart. So the money, there's not much money left to pay. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater was QB2 for the Saints. He went to the Panthers. We'll get to that. And they have Taysom Hill, who's probably going to be their eventual starter. Maybe. We'll see with Jameis Winston. He signed a 1-year deal for $1 million. He could potentially make up to like $3 million to back up Drew Brees. I think it's very good, man. You got Sean Payton. You got Drew Brees. You got a really, really top-tier quarterback room in New Orleans there. Jameis Winston came out and said today, man, I didn't really have anyone to teach me how to play quarterback. Like, I had to, look up on Google and YouTube all my quarterback mechanics in the NFL with Tampa Bay. That's scary. I don't care what anyone says, man. Jameis Winston can ball. He can ball. Obviously, no one before has ever thrown 30 touchdowns and 30 picks in a year. That's because if someone's throwing a lot of picks, they're going to take them out before they ever get to 30. There's a reason why Arians believed in Jameis to keep him on the field to be able to throw 30 tugs. 30 touchdowns is a lot, okay? Every quarterback in their first year in a Bruce Arians offense throws a lot of picks. Peyton Manning, Big Ben, Andrew Luck, Carson Palmer, Jameis Winston. If Jameis would have been there this coming season with the Bucs, he probably would have slung it out and killed it. He's going to become a very good quarterback for New Orleans. Mark my word. All right, number 10, Bridgewater to the Panthers. I think that's a pretty good move, man. Bridgewater's been through a lot. He was a top pick out of Louisville, first round, went to the Vikings, had some really, really good games, good couple seasons with the Vikings. Obviously had that devastating knee injury, and he had to go to the Saints and pretty much revitalize his career. And he did. As I said, he went 5-0 in spot duty for Drew Brees last year, albeit on a good team, but I don't care. Quarterbacks can ruin good teams. It happens all the time. Now he gets his chance to start for the Panthers. He's got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. He's got Matt Rule as their new head coach. I like where they're going. They still have a lot of defensive pieces despite Luke Kuechly retiring. I think they're going to be good, man. They have a lot of good receivers now. They drafted another one in addition to Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. I like this for Teddy Bridgewater. I really do, man. I wish the best for him. I think he's a top-tier quarterback. I always have, and he's shown that when he's on the field. Number 11, the Andy Dalton free agency. Obviously, the Bengals just cut Andy Dalton, I think, 2 days ago. Where is he going to go? How much money is he going to get? Is he going to be a starter? These are all good questions. There's not a lot of teams right now that need a starting quarterback. If they did, they just drafted one, right? He's probably going to back up somewhere, just like Mariota, Jameis, maybe Cam. We'll get to that. Andy Dalton can play ball, but he has to be on a good team. But that is most quarterbacks. That is 90% of NFL quarterbacks. They have to be on a good team in order to excel. Andy Dalton, they're talking about maybe going to the Patriots. We can't afford him. We don't have the cap space. We probably would have done it already if we wanted to. They might, though. Don't get me wrong, but I think they really believe in Stidham. I'll get to that. Andy Dalton, man, who knows where he's going to go. He can play. I mean, he did good on a Bengals team. So, when they sucked. So we'll see what he does, maybe under a better offense and a better team. Number 12, the Cam Newton free agency. Cam Newton, obviously he's a little bit of, he's prolific, he's interesting, because he's a good quarterback. He's had good years. He was MVP of the league, went to the Super Bowl. He's done a lot of great things, but obviously, he's a little bit loud, character stuff. People just don't like all the extra baggage that comes along with it. And now he's been injured for a couple years. What's going to happen with him? It's hurt that we've had this coronavirus issue, so teams can't meet up with Cam to see how healthy he really is, if he's totally rehabilitated from his injuries. I think it's funny, man. No one's talked about this on all the news channels that I've watched. Cam Newton, when he was drafted in 2010, was negatively affected by the lockout that year. That negatively affected him. He didn't have a full offseason as a rookie to develop. Now that he's a free agent finally, he's dealing with this. It just sucks, man. He's going to go somewhere and back up, and he's probably going to have to take some humble pie, a humble deal. We'll see, man. I wish the best for Cam Newton. I hope he's healthy. He's a dog. I wanted him to go to Chicago, maybe Indianapolis. Those are not going to happen now. I'm not sure where he's going to go, dude. It's getting late now. He'll get on a team somewhere, maybe once a quarterback gets hurt. I don't know. Number 13, Nick Foles to Chicago. This is a clear sign that they do not believe in Mitch Trubisky. It's probably going to be an open quarterback competition this offseason whenever they have one. They're probably going to end up starting Mitch Trubisky because if he ends up struggling, they can put Nick Foles in, and Nick Foles does best as that kind of quarterback, as a reliever, not as a starter. Okay, and then hopefully Nick Foles can come in and make some magic happen. I hope Mitch Trubisky's going to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He just hasn't had a lot of experience. He only started one season in college. He just doesn't have as many reps as a lot of these other quarterbacks. If they started Nick Foles and he struggles, which he probably will, then they go back to Mitch Trubisky. It's just like going back and forth. It's not a good look. Mitch Trubisky, man, he better step it up. Some people, when you light fire under their rear, it motivates them and it makes them better. Other people crack under the pressure. We shall see. But Nick Foles he's not like an NFL starting quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback. Number 14, DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Cardinals. No one saw this coming unless maybe you were on the inside of the Texans organization. DeAndre Hopkins is going into his 8th year, okay? Going into his 8th season out of Clemson. Last year he had 104 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 tugs, 7 TDs. He gets traded to the Cardinals. It goes Hopkins and a 4th-round pick. Go to the Cardinals for David Johnson and a 2nd-round pick this year and a 4th-round pick next year. Man, the Texans should have got a lot more for Hopkins other than, a has-been David Johnson, underachieving David Johnson, and a couple picks. We'll see what happens with him. DeAndre Hopkins, some people think he's still a top-tier receiver. I certainly do. Some people have him as the number 1 receiver in the league. I don't, but I do think he's top 5, top 3. That's crazy, man. That's wild. Obviously, there was more to it. There was more to it than them not wanting Bill O'Brien and them not wanting to pay DeAndre Hopkins since his contract was coming up. Obviously, there's a reason why they didn't want to pay him. DeAndre Hopkins has come out to say that they never got along. Him and Bill O'Brien never had a relationship, which doesn't really surprise me. I do think Bill O'Brien's a great head coach. I don't think he's a great GM, and that's what he is, with Houston. He's a de facto GM and head coach. DeAndre Hopkins, man, he's going to go over there and probably ball out. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't garner, double teams anymore. But, we'll see, man. Christian Kirk maybe can develop into a deep threat. Then you got Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Kenyon Drake, running back. Pretty interesting, man. Number 15, Leonard Fournette just recently got denied his 5th-year option with the Jaguars. What that means is when you're a first-round pick in the NFL, it's a 4-year contract for the team, and then you can decide whether you want to pick up their 5th year, okay? Typically, if they pick up their 5th year, that means they like them, and it gives them that year to be able to, give them another contract for the future. If they don't like them, typically before their 4th season, which Leonard Fournette is in, they will not pick up that 5th-year option. So Leonard Fournette will be on the Jaguars this year, but it will be his last year, and it will be a prove-it deal either to the Jaguars or to another team. He's not going to stay in Jacksonville, I do not believe. People forget how crazy good Leonard Fournette is. He is crazy good. He's been dinged up a little bit, but he's been on a horrible team, okay? He is a freak. He is so strong. He is so strong, and he's a bulldozer of a running back, but he's also one of the fastest running backs in the NFL, and he's like 230 pounds. This is crazy how athletic this dude is. Last year, one of his runs, his breakaway runs, they record the miles per hour for the fastest runs of the year. He got the fastest run of the year. It wasn't some little scat back, wasn't some little skinny receiver, wasn't no John Brown or Hollywood Brown. It was freaking Leonard Fournette with all the weight that he's carrying. He's a freak, but he's just a little bit of a punk. He's kind of hard to get along with. I'd like it if he went to Pittsburgh. There's a few options for him to go. We'll see, man. Indianapolis, who knows? We'll find out, man. Okay, number 16, Christian McCaffrey nets a record-setting deal. Christian McCaffrey gets a 4-year extension, averaging $16 million a year, which is the highest a running back has ever paid in league history. This goes to show, man, running backs are not getting paid in this era. Even if they play really, really well, even if they play beyond really well, and they're a running back and a receiver like Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers didn't want to pay him. It just goes to show, if you are a top character dude, do a lot in your community, get along with everybody, work hard, do everything you can to be an asset for your team instead of a distraction or, a downside for your team, you'll get paid. Christian McCaffrey got paid in an era where running backs are not getting paid. Man, Christian McCaffrey won one for the good boys. Man, good luck to him. I hope he lives up to it, but he's probably maybe one guy that does deserve it. I wouldn't pay a running back either. Top contract money if I was running a team, just because you can get good running backs in the 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, running back by committee. Christian McCaffrey is maybe the one guy just because he does so much as a running back, and he's a whole nother receiver. He gets 100 catches and 1,000 yards as a receiver in addition to his running back workload. So really, you're probably saving money if you talk about contract numbers of a number one running back and a number one receiver, which his numbers reflect for both. Number 17, Tom Brady to the Bucs. So this is not what I predicted back when I did that video in late January. If you would have asked me in late February, early March, I would have said, man, the writing's on the wall. Brady's out of here. I was just so afraid of where he was going to go. I obviously didn't want Brady to leave. No fan wants their all-time quarterback to leave, you know. But Brady to the Bucs, that was probably the least painful team he could go to. That was probably the least hurtful situation that I could be in or see Brady in. He goes to a place, Tampa Bay, where they have Bruce Arians, you know, where Jameis Winston tried to make it happen. They have probably the best wide receiver combination in the game, I would say, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, both going over 1,000 yards last year. They have two really good tight ends in O.J. Howard and Cameron Bray, and they have a pretty good running back, out of USC that played pretty well last year. Brady should ball it up in Tampa Bay, especially with Bruce Arians. He should ball it up. Their defense wasn't great last year, but they were one of the top defenses in the last half of the season last year. You know, and if Brady, if he goes on to do big things, it's just going to help his legacy. I don't think his legacy is going to be hurt by this. I mean, he could like go out there and suck it up and not have anything left and maybe never build any chemistry with those receivers because of this lack of an offseason. But you can't really take away what he's done, you know. I mean, Michael Jordan on the Wizards was bad. He was bad. It was not a good look. He still did more than anyone else. He's still the GOAT. So Brady's still the GOAT regardless. Him to the Bucs is probably, it was his best option, which is crazy because back in January, no one even thought of the Bucs. And then number 18, Gronk to the Bucs. This came out of nowhere. I mean, people talked about it, but it didn't seem realistic because it wasn't coming from Tampa Bay. It wasn't coming from New England. It wasn't coming from Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski has been retired for a year, but the Patriots owned his rights. They owned him one more year with $10 million. Rob Gronkowski Belichicked Bill Belichick. That's what he did. Of all the great Patriots over the last 20 years, Lawyer Malloy, Richard Seymour, Chandler Jones, Ty Law, all these guys that had to finish their career elsewhere and not end it, Vince Wilfork, not end it the right way, Rob Gronkowski got exactly what he wanted. He came back and said, hey, you don't really have much to do, okay? You can trade me to any other team that you want, but I'm just going to retire, so they're not going to want to trade for me. You could try to keep me on the roster, but I'm $10 million. You can't afford me. Or you can trade me to the Bucs, who I will gladly play for because Brady's the only quarterback that he was going to play for at this point. And they really didn't have a choice, and they got a fourth-round pick or something. I don't even know what they got for him. I think a fourth-round pick. They got something for Gronk, which they wouldn't have got anything. So it was pretty clever, man. Gronk does not need to be 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown player this year for $10 million to be worth it. That's a security blanket. That's peace of mind for Brady. With all these other receivers and running backs and offensive linemen that he's going to have to build chemistry with and timing, that's one dog where he doesn't, okay? Even if Gronk goes out there, and just maybe gets 4 or 5 red zone touchdowns, maybe gets 300-400 yards, but in the playoffs has that big catch like he did, 2 years ago. The biggest catch in the AFC Championship versus the Chiefs. The only big catch against the Rams in the Super Bowl. If he just has those alone, it was worth it, obviously. So Gronk to the Bucs, man, clever. Everyone else better watch out. Number 19, the second to last one, Belichick's master plan. What is Belichick going to do with this team? What's he trying to do? Does he think he can compete with Jared Stidham, Brian Hoyer? Is he tanking for Trevor Lawrence next year, the consensus number 1 overall pick? I don't think so. All the writing on the wall, what's he doing? What he's doing to trade for a bunch of draft picks, trading all these stalwart culture guys, Deron Harmon, Jimmy Collins, all these guys that he's getting rid of to garner draft picks and to retool his team, to rebuild the culture, trading out of the top pick this year, the first-round pick, to get more picks. He's obviously trying to build up just another team and revamp younger, kind of like what they did back in 2000 with, Drew Bledsoe and Brady. I don't know how good they're going to be this year, just based on their coaching, and their philosophy and stuff like that. I can't see them winning any less than 8 or 9 games, even with that division getting better. They really believe in Stidham. I can tell you that. Stidham played at Auburn, at Baylor. He had a couple good years. He had a bad year his last year there, but if he would have came out a year before he did, he would have been a first-round pick. Stidham has all the tools. He has all the physical tools. Tall guy, pretty good arm, accurate. He came in for the Patriots for Brady, and I think he threw like a pick six or something, and they had to take Stidham out and put Brady back in. But I don't think it wasn't because they didn't believe in Stidham. I think it's because they didn't want to kill his confidence early on. They really believe, I feel, that Stidham can win. We will find out. I don't think Belichick's tanking for Trevor. Obviously, they're not going to lose enough games next year to get Trevor. They might have enough picks to go and get Trevor. Maybe they're going to do it. It's so far out, obviously. We'll see. Trevor Lawrence maybe is probably, the only no-miss quarterback pick since Andrew Luck and then Peyton Manning, Carson Palmer, those kind of guys, John Elway. Number 20. So the 2020 season outlook. How I feel the 2020 season's going to go. I think it's going to be pretty wild. There's obviously not going to be any training camp, no OTAs. They're just going to have 2 or 3 weeks to practice and to get everybody on the same page and in shape. Maybe they're going to play 1 or 2 preseason games, and then they're going to get rolling. They're not going to have a 17-game season this year, just 16. But, it's going to benefit some teams, the veteran teams that already have chemistry. They don't have a lot of new pieces or a new coach, new philosophy to ingrain and instill. It's going to benefit those teams that have an older veteran team like the Saints and teams like that, the Chiefs, because they're going to pick up right where they left off. The teams that are younger with new regimes, new coaches, that kind of stuff is going to be tougher, man, because, you're going to have to build chemistry pretty much during the season. That's always tough to do. I don't know if the season is going to get, prolonged, delayed. I don't know, man. I know the offseason certainly is because it already has. I feel like come September, they're probably going to be able to play. I don't know what they're going to do with the attendance and stuff. No one knows, man. Everyone's in the dark about this. Even the top medical experts are somewhat in the dark. I don't know, but I think it is going to be a very intriguing season for a number of reasons. All these new quarterbacks that we have under center. A great rookie class. Obviously, Brady. What's Belichick going to do? Can the Chiefs, go back to back? Can they run it back? How's Lamar Jackson going to do now that they have real film on him? There's so many questions, man. All right, guys, that's all I got. It feels really good talking about sports again. Sorry about that damn lawnmower. I should have went and told that guy, hey, man, do it later. Do it later. The grass can wait. Let it grow. But I just, I talk loud enough. I just spoke over it. I hope you guys are having a really fun beginning to your summer. There's not much for you to do, but, it's within your control to make the most of it. If you have a crappy isolation quarantine period, it's not because you didn't have the time, clearly. It's because you never had the motivation. You never had the dedication. The real dogs, the real people that are motivated and about it, those people are going to be shown throughout this isolation quarantine season because they make it happen regardless of resources. They don't let this be an excuse to not hit your goals, and that's where I'm at. I'm still hitting my goals, man. Lately I've been getting up at 3 in the morning and going to work, and then I come home and I still hit my goals, man. If you want it bad enough, you're going to get it. If you just talk about it and say, man, it'd be nice, probably not going to happen, dude. That's not enough to make things happen. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Very, very excited for the upcoming sports season. Yeah, once we get to it finally, it's going to feel like forever until we finally get there. This has been a long month and a half. I hope you guys, like I said, are staying positive and staying productive. Thank you guys for watching. Please like this video. I want to hit a record on the amount of likes I have on the video. I want to say I have 12 or 13 likes on a video. That might be my record. If we can break that record, that'd be so dope. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to do it once a week. It's just if I get to it, man, I get busy. Other than that, guys, I love you so much. We're going to talk to you soon. It is time to plug out. Love you all. Deuces. Whoop!